What up, what up, what up, y'all? Man, welcome back. Welcome back. I know it's Wednesday. We had some stuff going on yesterday, and we just had to push it to today. We apologize. We'll be back to regular scheduled programming next week, but we still bringing the Man Cave Experience live to y'all, YouTube, Facebook. Hey, it's me, Cedric Edison, and I got my main man over here to my right, maybe my left, depending on how it's showing up. Ron, what's happening out there in good old Cali, man?
Doing good. Just enjoying summer. Just engaging with a lot going on in my life, but just excited to be here. Excited to just dive into this topic tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, man. Hey, say y'all, man, we appreciate y'all joining us every week. We really do. And if you haven't already, hit the notification button, the like, share. Go ahead and hit the share, create that watch party or whatever. But no, y'all, tonight, man, we want to be we talking about playing small. Um, I know I've played small and sometimes still do play small. So it's just kind of interesting how that all come about. Now, Ron, we had these back scene topics, talks, and we like, yo, pre-production. There we go. And we're like, well, what we gonna talk about? Blah 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 blah. And Ron brought this one, right? So I'm curious, like, what was going on, man? Like, where it come from?
Yeah, I think when now that I connect with the topic, playing small, back when I was playing small, I didn't really recognize it. I recognized it more as being, shy or being, an introvert, something that kind of gave it I guess, a prettier title or a not so negative connotation. So when I look, at myself and who I am today versus who I was, even a year, 2 years ago, and just how I show up in a different way. And what I mean by that is I'm not as hesitant to just share all of who I am. So I think when I was playing small or playing lesser than, I would only show you, individuals, depending on who it was, little bits and pieces of me that I felt safe. Like I wasn't going to be judged. I wasn't going to be looked at in a different way. And I think, that can create some sense of safety and security. And that might feel good at the time, but it also holds us back. It held me back from really speaking my truth, trusting that what I had to share, who I felt like I wanted to be, and just evolving as a human being. Just this whole sense of playing small, I try not to look back and say, and be judgmental of that, but just how can I learn now and just be bold, to be courageous, to be, full of life, and to share that, in conversation, just in how I communicate with others. And we see it all the time, right? We see individuals that, and you, the listener, maybe listen and wonder, what am I not doing in my life that I really feel like I should be doing? And that's, a variation of not fully allowing yourself to be who you're destined to be. And playing small or being small, it can almost look like a smaller version of you, right? Just that, almost like sitting next to yourself and just seeing, just that part of you versus all of you. And I think that just for me, to be a father, to be, a husband, to be a coach, to be, an entrepreneur, it wasn't serving me well because, I'm asking, encouraging others to play big, to, hit the home run, to do the impossible. And yet, there's times where I would hold myself back. So it's taken some time. I know, you've gone through various stages of your life and maybe not recognize it as playing small, just more scared, uncertain, all these things that you've navigated through. So when did you connect to this whole idea of playing small or being small versus just being life size and real and authentic?
Every day, but nah. Man, to be honest, like for me, I really didn't even notice or even know what. Like if somebody would have told me, man, you playing small, what I would say maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I'm like, what the hell you mean? Like how you figure I'm playing small? I'm going all out. I'm living life to the fullest, right? Um, but it wasn't until after actually learning, that we all have bad habits, and how to slow down and really look at myself. I noticed in retrospect, looking back, like, damn, okay, playing small for me, it equated to being safe or avoiding certain situations,
Mm,
which was real big for me,
mhm.
especially coming out of the lifestyle that I did, coming from a very negative lifestyle and then coming over to, quote unquote positive lifestyle, right? That was a drastic change, and a lot changed with me. And one area I noticed, especially in like just my personal relationships and professional relationships, was I would avoid conversations and set really, really soft boundaries
Mhm.
because I just felt like it was easier to not say anything and avoid that conversation, play small,
Right.
instead of having a hard definition of my boundaries and my hard no's. Like, no, I'm not going for this, and working through all of that. And then here recently, man, I don't know if you even picked it up. Like when we was talking, like I just launched the summit that we're presenting on the 15th, around for high school and college students. And even with that, man, we wanted to put together a panel of all Black to be able to present that primarily to the Black neighborhoods. And the entrepreneur side was thinking from a Fortune 500, like, how can we streamline this to cast the biggest net? If we narrow it down to Black, what are you doing? Like, you won't be able to monopolize that much, and going through that, I'm like, yo, wait a minute, you playing small, like living your truth, living who you want and what you want and how you want it to be. And so, we did that and we named it Black Excellence Leadership Group. And,
And I think,
so
that's great because, and you that may be listening in, this isn't a judgment upon you or a judgment upon myself or judgment on Cedric for playing small, at different times of your life, because that experience might have kept you safe, might have kept you secure, might have kept you in a place that was important for you at that point to kind of take a step back, and maybe not, you weren't ready to step forward. I remember we've talked on several occasions here about what 3 years ago, going on, maybe it's going on 4 years ago now. I'm losing track of time, mother. um, but the so there was so I was like, we were going through BHC, and there was a live event coming up. I kind of saw that they were doing a contest for individuals to perform a stretch break, which, if you're not familiar with that, is kind of like a filler, like in between sessions. So I'm like, I think I had to do some sort of testimony, or share something that why I felt we wanted to do it, and scared the crap out of me. It's like, who am I to think that I can get up on stage, or why would I feel like I need to get up on stage to dance around or whatever we were going to decide to do at that point. But then I'm like, you know what? Screw it. And I've got somebody that's probably going to scare the crap out of him to do it as well. He's probably playing maybe small like me right now, and would probably never even consider even doing it, period. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to share this with Cedric. And long story short, I don't even go through the whole process. We went on the stage, 3 times at different
yeah,
events. It was how many people? About 600,
yeah,
700, 800 people.
yeah, it was
Large amount.
enough to shake the floor.
Right. Are on us. And it just felt so liberating to not just to be. I mean, it wasn't about what we, that we had this wisdom to share, or that we were doing something that was profound. It was just us stepping up and expressing ourselves in a way where we were whole, where we felt like we weren't worried about judgment, we weren't worried about what the outcome was. We just did it because we felt like we wanted to do something fun and push us out of our comfort zone. So that was, I think, a turning point for both of us to say that make that decision to, on all 3 occasions, we were scared crap. We're scared shitless to get up there. It's like, okay, go time. Let's do this. And we did it.
Yeah, dude.
Not,
Hell yeah.
and not that you, the listener, needs to do that, but are there things that you may be able to take a step forward in your life that's going to, maybe create wholeness within you? And that could just be what you need to say, could be what you need to do, could be, who you want to connect with. And those are all ways to really show up in a different way and not to hold back because you're concerned about what the results might be, or fear of judgment, or fear of failure. All those things that we all feel at some point or another. There's probably nobody out there that hasn't had some part of their life where they played small, or they didn't give all of themselves in situations.
Right. And man, and I hope y'all not out there listening, like judging yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? To me, and this is just says personal opinion, that's one of the worst things you can do to keep you, or one of the worst things to do to help you move forward, or one of the best things to do to keep you stuck, because you're just gonna beat yourself into that same spot. Take it easy, man. Be kind to yourself, because something I realized, man, life have the ebbs and flows, and the stuff that we talk about, it's almost inevitable type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It will happen in your life. Maybe not as much, but it's going to happen. Like, you'll experience playing small. Maybe it's just seeing that sexy female over there, or that sexy guy, you think he hot and you want to ask him out on a date, and sis don't go over there and ask him on a date, and that could have been your soulmate. Not saying you won't find it, you know what I'm saying? But you play small. You didn't answer to your heart's desires at that moment. And then, just be like, man, dang, just recognize it. And then just ask yourself, man, what can I have done differently to experience what I wanted to experience? Because, man, like that time, like that Ron talking about y'all, like I didn't even know none of this was going on. Ron just sent me an email like, yo, you heard about the contest? And I'm like, yo, I saw it just like you saw it. And he like, so yeah, I applied, and if we make it, you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, because in my head, I'm like, man, we not gonna make it, man. We just signed up. We had just signed up in May, and it was November. I'm like, who the hell are we? Nobody gonna want us to be up on that stage. And you remember something happened too, bro, like where they said we didn't make it, and then about 2 weeks prior to, they come and when Ron like, yeah, we didn't do it. No, we both got the email.
Yes.
I'm like, hell yeah, that's still playing small. Hell yeah, man. I didn't want to get up in front of all them damn people anyway.
I know we're both like, they didn't pick us.
Right. And then about 2 weeks before the event, when one of the event planners hit us up and was like, yo, yeah, so we are gonna need y'all to come. And we like, shit, we ain't got nothing. But I still latch on to that because of that feeling afterwards. And I mean, I personally went through hell right before, like almost to the point I was getting sick to my stomach, almost finna throw up. Like, he finna have to go out there on his own, still trying to show the face like, yeah, we finna do this. Like, okay, keep it down, don't throw up. Yeah, let's go. Even when we on stage looking at him, we both quiet and we like, okay, we out here now, bro. What happened? And then we rocked it, man. That was a beautiful thing to even in retrospect to see that you can experience being small and still persevere and push through and show up. Man, there's some big rewards in that. Let's see what Scott say. There's a trap between playing small and big, and it's just as bad as playing small, playing big enough.
Right.
Big,
yeah.
Big enough.
Well, I think we can do that as well, right? We can invest just enough to show an effort, I always kind of equate that to my father, and it's like invest just enough to feel I can say, yeah, I'm making the effort, but doing just enough in the opposite direction to ensure that it doesn't actually come to fruition. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, just some underlying effort to not let it happen because there's that fear or there's that uncertainty. If I do this, or if I say that, or if I take this action, then this might be the result. I don't know if I'm ready for that. And so when we're talking about playing small, we're talking about some big things, right? But it could just be just that share or that thought or that communication that you're wanting to have, but for some reason you're deciding not to because you're almost making that decision for both people that it's not important. And I think that's where I would encourage you, the listener, to, as long as it's coming from a nourishing place, coming from your heart, and you feel like it's something that's in alignment with who you want to be and who you are, then allow yourself to share that, and maybe even ask permission with that person to say, are you okay with me? I'm a little uncertain, a little scared, a little fearful of sharing this with you. And that brings realness to that conversation. And I think when we feel small alone, that can be scary. But if we can share that with others, just say, you know what, I feel like I'm kind of holding back. Can you help me to maybe navigate through this? Especially as men, we don't typically ask another man, hey, I'm not feeling more comfortable of doing this. Can you, help me through this? That's not something that I feel that I see a lot with men in my life. So how can we as men, kind of turn the table on what we seem to think is typical and take those chances, show up in a different way, make that bold statement that's nourishing, that's encouraging, that's supportive, not taking that chance and saying something that's going to injure or damage or cause somebody pain. Just how can we come from a different place and releasing ourselves from this willingness just to almost like decide for somebody else on how they're going to experience me. Right? It's like, who am I to not share with you all of who I am, thinking that you're not going to appreciate or value what I have to offer? Should I be willing to just be myself? And then if that works for you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay as well.
Right. Man, it's I was doing an interview the other day, man, and they made an interesting point of saying best almost seems like it has a cap because you can only go so far. And they was like, man, you want to push for that higher self, and I was like, yo, when they said it, I was like, okay, I could see where the cap could possibly be with best. That's all I got, but with higher, it's like higher and higher. And then that you made that cross my mind, that part of that interview, because that's essentially what we're doing, or striving to do, and that's what we really point out with this whole thing around this topic is there's power in living up to what, and I'm gonna just put it like this, to what you want to do. And when I say want, I mean like that true desire, like, because we know those moments, those moments when you really want to go and do something. You've really been thinking about that promotion or really thinking about taking that trip, or it's that phone call you need to make. And for whatever reason, all of that loop stops you from doing it. Right. That's the time we're talking about elevating yourself. And what I would say is in that moment is the instant that you notice hesitation, stop and acknowledge it and say, hey, I'm hesitant. Right. Because I feel like if you don't, what'll eventually happen is you allow more time for that loop to get bigger, and those negative thoughts. But if you can recognize it, like, hey, I'm gonna make that call, and then you're like, well, you know what? I'll just do it at 3. Stop. Why can't you do it right now? Like, and start to question and ask yourself, what can I do to get myself to a point to where I am able to press those 10, 11 numbers, or whatever the case may be, accomplish this task, because you will feel much better and you'll save yourself a heck of a lot of time. Because I know as men, we don't ask for help and we don't trust any. Like, the only person I can trust to get the job done is me. You know, like, you, we're counting on you, kid, from baseball all the way up to grown age. You know, being a grown up. That's how our society has raised us to be. Not saying that it's wrong. It's protected us, but there is a different alternative, and a more peaceful and mindful and healthier version of doing things. And I know I found it's just been easier for me and less stressful to deal with those emotions in that moment and that uncomfortableness versus having to deal with, well, let's call it what it is, that regret. I don't care if people say, man, I don't regret nothing. No, if you didn't make that phone call today and you wake up 2 days from now and you're like, damn, I could have made that phone call, that's regret. Don't try to put lipstick on the pig or pee on my back and call it rain. That's regret. It's small. You don't want to face that regret. Right. So just deal with that. And
yeah, to your point, I was just kind of thinking, kind of parallel with that. It's like, we don't like change. Typically, the human being, the brain doesn't like change. So we know that, just kind of coming from that place. And the tendency seems to be often where, we don't take an action because we're fearful of what might happen if we take that action, versus if we just simply shift that mindset to, well, what happens if I don't take that action? How my life won't change, how my life won't move forward, how my life won't change, all these things that are as a result of not taking the action. Yet, we seem to focus oftentimes on what negative things are going to happen versus what are the negative things going to happen if you don't take the action, not if you do take the action. It's like just maybe asking yourself that question before you decide to shut it down and just continue to play a little behind the scenes. It's like, where's my life going to go? What other actions am I not going to take in my life, as a result of me developing almost the sense of confidence that I don't need to take the action?
Man, hold on, man. You just, I don't know if y'all really heard what he just said about that question, but man, you just went real deep right there, bro. You said, what if we question ourselves on what negative might happen if I don't take it? Bruh, that's deep.
And what does that take? A minute to at least, and maybe you still take the action, maybe you don't, do what you'd like to do. But I think when you start creating that willingness to even allow that question to come up, there might be more of the possibility that you might say, you know what, this time I'm going to take that action, because this feeling keeps coming up, like it's pulling me in the direction of change. It's pulling me in the direction of taking action. And what do I have to lose? Well, this is what I have to lose. Right. I'm going to just continue down this, this tunnel vision road of, expecting something different in my life, and I'm not doing anything different. So my life is not going to change. My life is going to stay the same. So, am I open to maybe a one step forward? It doesn't maybe it's a big step. Maybe it's something you're going to take action on that's going to really change something dramatic in your life. It doesn't have to be that big step. It could just be, the willingness first to admit to yourself that you haven't been taking the action that you really desire, like you were saying earlier. What is my deepest desire? Acknowledging that, maybe being real with that, first of all, giving yourself permission to actually take action. And maybe that action is just the simpleness of letting go of past, kind of judgment around that. Just that first step. Build some confidence, kind of transition into maybe that next step, and then the next step, knowing that those steps are leading you in the direction of what you want to experience. And some people are able to take that giant step and be successful. Other people take that giant step and they're so floored by change and at them, they just give up. So,
Right.
there's not two options. You can create more manageable options for yourself if it's difficult for you to kind of do something that feels very, very almost foreign to you.
Man, we might have to come back and revisit this, and because you just had me thinking, I was like, yo, this is probably a series and something we can talk in pre and post production. I'm like, man, because the brain, y'all, it's a muscle, it like a for real muscle in our body, and we can strengthen it and cause it to do different things, just like a bicep or whatever. Um, so we might have to put something together, man, and come back and have some type of series so you can start to rebuild that positivity muscle. Because the first, and it's like meditation. Ron is big on meditation, and he turned me on to it, and now I'm following the brain and mindfulness and all of this. You really can alter how you view things and how long you stay in that loop. Um, because it's almost like a hand on the stove. You don't need to keep your hand on the stove for a very long time to understand that it hurts. So that pain is good and it is bad. Who's to say? But how long do you have to take to recover? So we might have to do that, y'all. Um, you put that on my mind. I'm glad we got it on tape because I could forget sometimes. I said tape like I'm old. Well,
And I would close with, you, the listener, just, one thing that I really try to, I don't always practice what I preach, but this is something I really try to be aware of, is just noticing things about yourself. Just a way to start moving in the direction and just to understand more about your thought process and where you may be playing small in your life is just to notice. That energy feels like, that I didn't do what I felt my heart was telling me to do, or I didn't do what I really felt like it was important for me to do. Just notice those things. That's just one easy step for you, the listener, that can just take an immediate action. As we're speaking about this, just notice how you feel about it. When we're bringing up these shares that we've experienced, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel uncomfortable? Does it make you feel empowered? And maybe not even go to that extent, with as far as naming it, but just notice. It's like, there's uncomfortableness. There's energy that feels displaced. Maybe I can channel that energy in a different way in the future. Maybe not today, because I'm still kind of navigating the waters that are seem, uneasy. How can I just at least acknowledge and appreciate and value that I'm noticing this going on, and just start there.
Yeah. And and it's running in parallel with what you said. It's almost the same thing, a little different word. I would say acknowledge it. Notice it, but then acknowledge it. Because there's power in it. It's like I've said this before. If that check engine light comes on and you don't do anything, you're not acknowledging that light's on, and something else could go wrong. May not. It could just come on and be a sensor. Who knows? But you set up the chance or the possibility for that to happen. But if you acknowledge it, that means, okay, in order for me to say I'm in this state, you've noticed it, and now you have something to work with, because you know what it is and you know how it feels, and you can just literally search and seek the opposite. And that's just on a high level, and that's why I say we got to come back and probably do like a master class or something on that, man. Yeah, because that just touched my soul, and I'm like, yo, people need to know about that, and we try and keep it to 30 minutes, and this is masterclass stuff. For real, for real, for real. But y'all, man, it's always a pleasure, man. This time be flying when we be on this thing. It's like, damn, we got to start trying to wind it down already. Oh, but man, we love y'all. Ron, I love the topic, brother. Scott, whoever else. Oh yeah, and if you're watching this, man, hey, please, when you see the StreamYard, if you're on YouTube and Facebook, we can't see your comments unless you log into the StreamYard. It doesn't keep your information. It's highly secure and all of that. But if you want your comments shown and you want to interact, hey, just log into it, so you can interact with us live. Yeah, man. That's
Good.
it, y'all.
Love each and every one of you for showing up for us. Love you, Cedric, for showing up here as well. And just, this is our space. This is not Cedric and my space. This is a space that we create called the Man Cave Experience for a place for people to land, to experience, to share, to kind of be themselves. So we invite you to show up again, share, allow yourself to be open, and just to grow.
Oh no, I was trying to point to the share button. I don't know where it's at. And plus,
and that thumbs up. Business is know to grow and grow to know. So those are two important phrases for you to think about. We know we need to grow, and we need to grow to actually know something new. So that's what I'm going to inspire you as I say.
Love y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Appreciate y'all joining us.